If you think an expensive trip or going to luxury restaurants can save a relationship that's rotting from the inside, you're just buying time until the final explosion. This section isn't for those looking for Instagram photos and faking happiness. So if you don't have the courage to see the truth behind these artificial pleasures, don't waste your time. In this section, I'm going to expose a truth the travel industry won't tell you. Travel and leisure, if not properly engineered, are just short-term painkillers. Once the effect wears off, the hidden resentment returns even stronger. I've experienced with all my being how my best trips turned into my bitterest memories because I thought a change in geography could fill the void of a deep connection. I learned that true leisure is a tool for rediscovering power and building shared authoritative memories, not an escape from the bitter realities of home. If you don't know how to engineer pleasure so that it revives rather than numbs your relationship, you're just throwing your money away. You're about to learn how to use leisure as a weapon for deeper influence. Step into the unseen. Welcome to the ultimate masterclass in decoding the female mind. Relationship sedation. How your aimless entertainment is hiding the core voids of your relationship. The strategy of spiritual reconstruction. Why travel is a strategic investment, not a consumable expense. Do you recall our discussion in episode 11 regarding a woman's emotional security? Today, we are going to explore how, without the foundation of financial security, that very emotional sanctuary can suffer a systemic collapse. Once that financial security is established, as we discussed in the previous session, leisure and shared travel act as the vital fuel for the relational engine. From the perspective of evolutionary psychology, the human psyche is not designed for the endless, monotonous repetition of modern routine. In a world where the relentless fluctuations of the currency and gold markets, combined with the staggering pace of technology, keep us in a state of chronic anxiety, travel remains the only effective mechanism to reset the nervous system of a couple. My psychological critique of men who view leisure as a waste of time or capital is that they are inadvertently desiccating the very roots of their intimacy. In contemporary analyses of artificial intelligence and the future of work, we encounter a phenomenon known as digital burnout. When you and your spouse are perpetually preoccupied with the numerical data of the coin market or the latest shifts in the tech world, your brains become locked in a survival mode. Travel shatters this psychological paralysis. However, it must be a specific type of travel, one that synthesizes masculine authority in strategic planning with feminine grace in the aesthetic appreciation of details. I emphasize in this segment that a high-quality journey, regardless of its duration, yields a level of marital satisfaction that no material gift can replicate. By traveling, you are essentially purchasing memories, and memories are the only assets that no inflation or economic crisis can ever devalue. Let us distinguish between geographical displacement and a psychological journey. Many couples travel, yet carry their entire burden of financial anxieties and dollar price alerts in their luggage. My psychological interpretation is that these individuals have moved their bodies, but their minds remain imprisoned in their offices. To ensure your script achieves maximum volume and impact, you must emphasize the separation protocol. The authoritative man is the one who, during leisure, shuts down all gateways of external stress to ensure his spouse feels that his absolute attention is centered on her. In the subsequent parts, we will explore intelligent leisure budgeting, the psychology of destinations, and how to manage conflicting travel styles. We are learning how to transform rest into a powerful strategy for achieving even greater financial and emotional victories. One of the most formidable challenges couples encounter during the planning of leisure is the divergence in their interpretation of joy. From the perspective of personality psychology, individuals often fall into two primary categories when facing new environments: those seeking serenity and stasis, and those craving excitement and the discovery of the unknown. My psychological critique of many high-achieving men is that they often view travel merely as a change of resting location, preferring sedentary luxury. In contrast, for many women, travel is an emotional expedition that must be enriched with new visual, cultural, and social stimuli. In a world where we are constantly bombarded by the dry data of the technology sector and the volatility of gold and currency prices, failing to acknowledge this aesthetic divergence can transform an expensive vacation into a mobile conflict zone. Let us examine the technique of strategic collaborative design. Recalling our discussion in episode 15 regarding financial management, this is precisely where wealth and psychology intersect. An authoritative man is not one who unilaterally imposes a destination, but one who establishes the framework of security and budget, and then grants his spouse the autonomy to curate the details and aesthetics. This division of labor provides the woman with a sense of value and participation, while allowing the man to fulfill his protective role. In the analysis of emotional intelligence, EQ, couples who can negotiate a shared destination are effectively practicing conflict resolution skills that will serve them in every dimension of life, including managing crises in the coin and real estate markets. The deeper layer of this discourse involves environmental psychology. The choice of destination must be predicated on the current needs of the relationship. If your union has been under intense pressure from complex tech projects or financial stress, a chaotic urban environment may double your cortisol levels. In such cases, pristine nature and silent retreats act as a clinical sanctuary. However, if the relationship has become stagnant or monotonous, an adventurous destination can reignite dopamine production in both partners. My psychological interpretation is that travel should be prescribed like a medical formula. You must ask, what oxygen does our relationship currently require? Peace or stimulation? To maximize your script's volume and authority, emphasize the peace protocol. Travel is an environment where our control over external variables, such as flight delays or weather shifts, is significantly reduced. This is where a man's true caliber is revealed. A man who remains composed during dollar price fluctuations must also remain composed during travel mishaps. Do not allow minor technical or service-related flaws to poison the emotional atmosphere. In the subsequent parts, we will explore budgeting for leisure without stinginess and digital detoxing to reconnect with your spouse's presence. We are learning to find the missing piece of the happiness puzzle in every journey we undertake. The Digital Detox Protocol and Joy Budgeting: How to Break Free from the Slavery of Monitors. In this critical phase of our deconstruction of travel psychology, we must confront a bitter and pervasive modern reality: physical presence in the absence of mental connection. From the perspective of cognitive psychology, one of the greatest saboteurs of intimacy in the 21st century is the phenomenon of hyperconnectivity. My psychological critique of successful men active in the technology, currency, and gold markets is that even on serene beaches or in remote forests, they remain slaves to their smartphone notifications. When you are seated at a romantic dinner with your spouse, but your eyes are perpetually scanning coin price charts or work emails, you are essentially communicating, "The world of numbers is more valuable than your presence." In this segment, we emphasize the digital quarantine strategy, a technique where the man, as the commander of relational security, designates specific dark hours for electronic devices to allow eye contact and verbal connection to be resurrected. let us examine the sensitive layer of financial management of leisure. Recalling our discussion in episode 15 regarding financial transparency, this is where theory must transform into action. One of the most significant barriers to joy during travel is expenditure anxiety. If you spend your entire journey calculating costs and comparing the price of hotels and meals with the daily rate of the dollar, you are effectively poisoning the atmosphere of leisure. My psychological interpretation for authoritative men is this: finalize and isolate the travel budget before departure. This budget must be categorized in your mind as a sunk cost, so that your hand does not tremble when creating joyful moments. A man who spends generously, within a logical framework, on his spouse's comfort during travel is actually investing in a strategic love reserve that will sustain the relationship during the market's inevitable downturns. Furthermore, we must address the psychology of photography and virtual performance. In the age of social media, many couples have transitioned from experiencing the moment to producing content from the moment. They travel to capture better photos, not to feel better. My critique of this approach is that performative joy is devoid of substance. You and your spouse must agree that a significant portion of the journey remains a shared private secret. Do not allow the judgment of others in the virtual space to dictate the quality of your happiness in the real world. In studies related to psychological well-being, couples with more offline experiences report significantly higher marital satisfaction than those who are perpetually online. You must learn to authoritatively maintain the boundary between your private world of leisure and the public showroom of life. To ensure your script achieves its maximum intellectual volume, focus on the concept of investing in sensory experiences. Scents, tastes, and the touch of a new climate's air are the elements that rewire your nervous system. Create a space for your spouse where she can immerse herself in the moment without the stress of gold prices or tech world news. In the fourth and final part, we will explore post-travel resilience and how to maintain the effects of leisure in your daily life. We are learning how to exit the cocoon of work and return home with a rejuvenated version of our relationship. We have reached the definitive terminal of this psychological deconstruction of joy. The most significant threat to a high-quality relationship is the abrupt collapse into routine immediately following the return from a journey. From the perspective of Gestalt psychology, our minds tend to archive pleasant experiences as isolated islands in our memory, quickly reverting to the same repetitive, stressful patterns. My psychological critique of men who operate in the high-pressure worlds of technology and financial markets is that as soon as the plane lands, they surrender once again to the slavery of gold and currency charts, sacrificing the tranquility built during the trip within hours. In this concluding segment, we emphasize the concept of emotional anchoring, a technique that teaches you how to inject fragments of that peace back into your domestic environment. Let us explore the operational layer of the soft landing. An authoritative man is one who possesses a strategy even for the days following the vacation. You must not allow your first conversation upon return to revolve around debts, dollar price volatility, or technical setbacks at the office. Psychological interpretation suggests that if you can maintain small traditions from the trip, such as a specific beverage or the music of that region, your brain will continuously refer back to that emotional security we constructed in episodes 11 and 16. You must prove to your spouse that the happy, liberated version of yourself seen during travel is your true self, and the pressures of the tech world are merely an external shell. This ensures that throughout the year, she will stand by you with greater enthusiasm for your financial successes. Furthermore, the concept of proactive planning for the next joy acts as a massive psychological catalyst. In the analysis of hope psychology, it is empirically proven that the anticipation of a positive event can be as rewarding as the event itself. As the leader of this union, you should never allow the file of leisure to be closed until the following year. Even amidst the peak of coin market fluctuations, having a specific date on the calendar for the next small getaway acts as a psychological shock absorber, mitigating the impact of work-related stress. This sends a powerful message of stability and continuous happiness to your partner, a message far more potent than any economic analysis. You are, in effect, building a holding company of memories whose stock value never depreciates. As we conclude episode 16, remember that leisure and travel are not escapes from responsibility, but rather the re-equipment of forces for greater responsibilities. If you wish to survive the competitive landscape of business and technology in 2026, you must learn to fill your emotional lungs with the oxygen of joy alongside your spouse. Do not let the greed for accumulating capital in the gold market rob you of the opportunity to touch the beauty of the world. In episode 17, we will dive into the highly sensitive topic of the psychology of conflict resolution, how to fight and reconcile without destroying each other's character, where we learn that arguing is an art, and an authoritative man knows how to transform the flames of anger into the warmth of understanding.